So Zeke is in a whole lot of trouble, and maybe not just for Jabari's death, but maybe for Ramirez's as well, because he pulled out Ramirez's PBA card while he was being questioned by Detective Whitman. And not only this, his face is all over the news and social media after this girl leaked the video to the press. Now, we also found out more background information about Mecca, aka Dante Spears, who spent some time out in Kuwait, who also owns an importing and exporting business, and he definitely isn't playing. And neither is Kane. He showed his street smarts in episode 2 and continued to do so with Brayden in episode 3, because he knows very well what he was doing with his boss partner shit that he was putting inside Brayden's head, with the help of Mecca of course, again, who's mentoring Kane. And as expected, they're now putting the wheels in motion for Lorenzo to be released from prison, and we knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and this is going to change the whole dynamic and game when he is released, and maybe he's coming out sooner than we think. Now, we're also going to run through all things Tariq and dive deep into all things episode 3 in this review and recap, but of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But let's start with where this episode kicked off from, which was with Tariq. Now, in episode 2 we saw Yaz being taken by child services, and we all knew he'd be approaching Tate because he's a man of influence and connections, but as always, things with Rashad Tate don't come for free. He wants Tariq to use his relationship with Brayden to get dirt on Congressman Sweeney because he wants his seat at the table, and when Tariq heard his name, he thought this motherfucker, especially because he took a shot at Tariq during the first episode during the deer hunting, and I do think Brayden's sister might be able to help Tariq with this, and the photo album that Brayden's dad has could definitely come into play. But the key thing out of this whole conversation between Tate and Tariq was he was happy to help, but not only did Tariq owe him, he owes him plus interest. And Rashad Tate will definitely be cashing in on this later on in the season, that's for sure. Now, when and what for, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But he's an opportunist, and he's always looking for a way to get to the top. Later on, he even overheard Detective Whitman and Carrie's conversation about Zeke, and how Carrie's alibi has now gone up in smoke, because Zeke didn't collaborate her story. Now, Tate knows about Carrie being the prime suspect, and he also knows about Zeke's involvement as well. And we all know nothing can happen to Zeke, because that's the stipulation for Tariq being at Stansfield. This is why he was talking about the greater good in this episode, after Monet, Kane and Tariq had their talk. He said the greater good is him and Kane staying out of jail, but also nothing can happen to Zeke or the Tahadas either. As he said in his ethics class, sometimes if you can't eliminate the concept of morality, you risk everybody taking a loss. So how is that the greater good? And he really can't afford for anyone to lose, Kane or Zeke, because then it's going to come back on Tariq. So he will have to eliminate the concept of morality and probably pin this whole shit on Carrie to make it all go away. So let's just stay with this whole murder investigation with Zeke being questioned, because this picture is now up on the board right next to Carrie and Officer Ramirez as well. And although he did better than I expected while he was being questioned by Whitman, who's the new Cooper Saxe, he definitely messed up when he pulled out Ramirez's PBA card, which to be fair wasn't his fault, because that's exactly what Monet told him to do if he ever gets into trouble. But what he doesn't know is Ramirez is dead, and when they find his body, not if, when they find his body, because they will, this shit could come crashing down on Zeke, and the video that was leaked to the press is going to be the least of his worries. But as I said, this episode was about the greater good, and Tariq needed to protect his interests, and Zeke is one of them, which is why he made the call to Davis McLean to represent him. But Monet's slipping again. She's forgetting what's important, and if you remember in Raising Kanan, it happened with Rak, when Lulu was put in hospital by Unique's crew, and she felt as if her relationship with Symphony was making her lose sight of the bigger picture. And the same thing is happening with Monet, except she's not realised yet, but I do expect her to realise at some point. But will it be too late when she does realise? That's the question. But Dante Spears has come back into Nene's life after 24 years, and for those of you who remember, I broke down exactly why Mecca calls Monet Nene. That was his nickname for her back in the day when they were kids, and he uses his charm because he knows this isn't the life that Monet dreamt of. We saw Dante giving her a taste of the life that she's never had before. He in essence is showing her a new world and what they can do together. But as I said, she's losing sense of the bigger picture because having a lover makes you weak, having a partner makes you strong. Now Mecca is her lover and Lorenzo is her partner, and while she's having fun in her fantasy world, Zeke was in the precinct, shitting his pants. And Zeke told Monet, "You're always talking about having my best interests at heart, but you're never telling me shit to protect myself." And he realizes this is his life, his career. And just what are we gonna see Zeke doing to protect his career? Will he talk or possibly call the agent that gave him his card and cut Monet out? Will he lose his draft spot because of all the headlines? There are so many directions this could go in. But let's talk a bit more about Mecca, because he showed us a bit more of his life, or the parts he wanted us to see and came to see anyway. He threw a big party for his boy Nuff, who's Mr. Big Mouth. He spilled the beans about Mecca being in Kuwait and him also being a lost cause since he got to New York because he had a hard-on for someone who we all know is Monet. But Mecca shows he isn't playing, he puts Nuff to sleep, and something tells me his time in Kuwait isn't all just about his importing and exporting business. He is definitely giving off some ex-soldier vibes. And not only this, he's controlling and wants to know everything about everyone, not just the Tahadas, but who Kane's doing business with, including Tariq and Brayden. Now Kane still doesn't trust Mecca, but Mecca gets Kane to trust him. He told him he's introduced him to his whole life, his place, his people. And sometimes to get the trust of people, you have to open up to them about your life, just like Tariq did with Lauren in this episode. He used the exact same principle to get Lauren back on side when he showed her this side of his life, which he'd been dealing with outside of college, which was Yaz. And Mecca was doing the same thing with Kane, or really showing him what he wanted to see. Now, not only did he have Nuff put the product in Kane's car, I'm sure he also put a tracking device in his car, which is how he must have been watching Kane, Brayden, and Tariq meet. And just a quick connection to Power and Ghost. Notice how Tariq is always standing in the exact same way Ghost used to, with the hands. They definitely throw in a few similarities, not just with their personalities and traits, but of course, Tariq has a long way to go, as we all know. But after this, Mecca does his ninja shit that Kane hates. He's everywhere. He tells him that Brayden is Kane's way in. He's the rich kid, especially because he's known Tariq for years. He's easy to control, and he wanted Kane to control Tariq by getting Brayden in his pocket. And this is why we're seeing a new side to Kane this season, which is very reminiscent to the way Kanan manipulated Tommy when he came out of prison. Kane and Mecca both know Tariq can't be manipulated the way Brayden can, and Kanan knew Ghost couldn't, but Brayden and Tommy could. So Kane starts off by telling Brayden that he's Tariq's delivery boy, and then he doesn't refer him to Tariq's partner. He keeps telling him that Tariq's his boss, and he very well knows what he's doing, because Brayden is out here to prove himself, and he'll want to prove himself to Kane that he's got what it takes. And this is exactly why we're going to see Brayden and Kane working together when they hit this jewelry store. And we'll get to the situation between Kanan and Tommy in a bit more detail in my part 2 recap that I will upload later on this evening. But this is going to be fueled by Tariq giving him orders, and he's going to be done with it sooner or later. Ghost used to never treat Tommy like his business partner, and this is what Tariq's doing with Brayden, which could definitely lead to some beef between the two. But let's talk about this, because this is huge in so many ways. Lorenzo will be coming out of prison at some point this season, and it seems like it could happen sooner rather than later. But we see Diana visiting Lorenzo, where he was expecting Monet. But we see Diana questioning the decision to let Kane back in, but Lorenzo said family always comes first. But he should know better than anyone. In this game, blood doesn't necessarily make you family, loyalty does. And let's see where Kane's loyalty lies when Lorenzo is released from prison. Will it lie with his family, or will it be Mecca, the person who's given him his respect that he's been searching for? And after Diana's visit to Lorenzo, she went to Tariq because she wanted to speak to Davis McLean about her pops. And this was Diana cashing in after she lied to Tariq about smoothing things over with Monet. So Diana got her meeting with Davis McLean and Cooper Sachs. But here's where we see a bit of conflict between Davis McLean and Sachs, and why I don't think they'll always get along. McLean's all about winning and money, and Sachs will want to make a name for himself and get his reputation back. So this is definitely one to watch out for. But after they turn Diana away, this is where Sachs finds out some very interesting information. The information which may just get Lorenzo released from prison. Now Jenny Sullivan remembers him because he was prosecuted by Walter Griffiths, who was fired because he got caught up with tampering evidence. And well, if he got fired for tampering with evidence in a case, then all of his cases are questionable, and this is how Davis McLean and Sachs can get Lorenzo out of prison. And of course, Sachs and McLean don't care about whether he's a monster, they care about reputation, winning, and money, so I'm sure they're gonna make it happen. And this is about to shake up the whole game, because I can see a similar scenario to where Kanan got out of prison. Only one person knew, which was Sean. Now for Lorenzo, that one person could be Diana, and Lorenzo might be able to move under the radar just like Kanan did, because Diana questioned Monet's whereabouts earlier on in the episode, and when she finds out she's in bed with Mecca, she may just turn on Monet and start helping her pops. And this is why I think we could very well see Lorenzo in the GTG versus Mecca, and who else? Which side are the other kids gonna pick? That's the question. But elsewhere in the episode, we saw Tariq and Brayden's new sophisticated way of doing business up on the rooftop, where they remain invisible, no pickup and drop-offs like they were doing in season 1. But Tariq's distracted as always, whether he's with Lauren, Diana, or Effie probably next week. There's always something going on in Tariq's life that will distract him from his love life, and Kane popping up in his room at Stansfield and giving him a big right hook doesn't help him either, and he'll always have Kane breathing down on his neck, so Tariq's gonna have to do something. And that was episode 3, which gave us a bit more background on Mecca and Monet's relationship. She continues to slip, and she's not seen the bigger picture. But the big story is, Lorenzo is going to be out sometime soon, so let me know your thoughts about Lorenzo being released from prison and how that's going to shake up the whole world of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2, because this whole split with the Tejadas is about to get interesting. But drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and I will be back in the evening with my second video as usual. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.